That was a mental one. Crazy. Yes. Sir Hairless here. Today we are back with the voice play, and this is Drunken Sailor. Thank you for this Patreon request. The origin of this song is not known, but it was supposedly sung on sailing ships at least as early as the 1830s. So the song's been knocking about for, well, 200 years or more. The guest today is Jose Rosario Jr. We have seen him before in another pirate-themed song that was Hoist the Colors. If you don't know this song, Drunken Sailor, you're probably familiar with the melody. The lyrics, well, I'm just putting them here because there's something very satisfying about seeing these repeated lines. It's a fun song, easy to remember, very limited as we can see in terms of the lyrics and also in terms of the melody. As always, who knows what voice play will do here? Let's jump in and find out.
When up she rises, early in the morning. What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor?
What will we do with a drunken sailor?
Early in the morning. When up she rises, when up she rises. Shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor. Early in the morning. When up she rises, when up she rises. Put him in a longboat till he's sober, put him in a longboat till he's sober, put him in a longboat till he's sober. Early in the morning.
Alright, this is quite mental. They are obviously doing changes to the song rhythmically, structurally, harmonically, melodically, anything else and sometimes so much so it's kind of veering away from Drunken Sailor, but I guess you have to because of how repetitive it is. I love the set. I love the costumes. I recognize these hands. These are the hands from Zat You, Santa Claus. I'm just kidding. That would be ridiculous if I recognized that. I did receive a little tip off from the requester that this here is Bucky. Thank you, Bucky, for so graciously playing the role of the Drunken Sailor. I hope you really are that drunk. If anyone knows voice play and they need someone to act as a drunk man in a future video for them whilst they sing around me, sign me up. This one, I think it's maybe around 3.5 minutes. We're just over 1 minute in. I will do maybe another pause here or there, just quickly though, and we'll do the analysis afterwards because VoicePlay are fine with copyright. Thank you, VoicePlay. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Quite strange in certain ways as well. Definitely more of a theatrical one. It's good to see VoicePlay keeping up the theme.
What will we do with a drunk?
As we also got in Hoist the Colors. So some thematic consistency between these pirate type songs. Love to see it. Let's carry on. A scupper. I had no idea. Is that what a scupper is? A toilet seat? As I was saying that, I knew that was a ridiculous thing to say. I just Googled it. It's the hole on the side of a ship to let the water drain out. Oh, by the way, after this reaction, we are going to also do our first voice play short. It was recommended to me and is roughly the same theme. It's The Last Shanty. I've heard a lot about voice play shorts. Have never seen one.
We were up along.
We like our bunks and sleeping bags, but what's a hammock for?
Swinging from the deckhead or lying on the floor. Just get your civvies ready for another round ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore.
So if you want to see that as well, head on over to the link down below in the pinned comment, and that will take you to the full video on my Patreon.
Stick him in a scupper with a hose pipe bottom. Stick him in a scupper with a hose pipe bottom. Stick him in a scupper with a hose pipe bottom. Early in the morning.
Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Early in the morning.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Wake up. Souls aboard, old salts are we. We've raised the sails for open sea. Grind deep, we hold our keep, no matter sink or swim. Believe me, lads, the scallywag
should make them listen to VoicePlay while we do it.
You are a monster.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor.
I'm not gonna lie. This is, yeah, it's manic. It's really manic. It's so hectic, so much going on. Very, very fun. It's a really fun one. I have a feeling this is one that will either grow on me the more I listen to it after filming, or one that I fear will make me sort of mad, as sometimes happens to me, and then I'll probably not listen to it for months and months and months. We'll see. If I stop posting, it's probably because I have gone crazy. Poor man, a tortured soul being forced to listen to VoicePlay.
You are a monster.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor. That's what we do with a drunken sailor.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor. Early in the morning. Way and up she rises. Way and up she rises. Way and up she rises. Early in the morning.
Up she rises.
In the morning. Way up she rises. Way up she rises. Way up she
I tells him, I'm like,
Hey! I'm not drunk. I'm just tired because you simpletons been singing all night.
Well, these harmonies aren't going to rehearse themselves, are they?
Piss off!
way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises, early in the morning.
Once again.
Some very questionable, I suppose they're supposed to be English accents there. Simpletons was my favourite word there.
I'm not drunk. I'm just tired because you simpletons been singing.
Simpletons? No, good accent otherwise, to be fair. Yeah, this is a really interesting one. I'm going to have a interesting time going through. As far as the arrangement itself goes and some of the things I was hearing, this for me is definitely up there. And as you know, I've done a lot of VoicePlay on this channel, still much more to go. I do my ratings videos as well at the end of each month, so you can see how I rank them amongst each other. And VoicePlay, pretty much everything by them, I just rate so highly. I think they're incredible. This arrangement though, in terms of complexity, I think is up there. As for the flow of the song as a whole, I don't think it's up there. But as we mentioned earlier, this is clearly a super fun one. I don't think it's supposed to be a really flowy, well-structured thing. So I think let's go back, go through. This is one where I could talk about every single second of it just because there are so many changes, so many interesting things. I need to try and not do that. So I will point out the things that I really think are worth mentioning. Really interesting opening. We can hear starts in unison, then the harmony opens up, the texture thickens, but they end on this major. And it's Jeff's bass part that's really interesting. Oops. Dum, dum, dum. And then down. And then down a seventh, not quite the octave. Finishing on this chord, which I will move up the octave or else it will sound atrocious on this keyboard. Jeff went down to the G. Surprise, surprise, the chord is a nice G major chord. But it's VoicePlay. Of course, they won't have a simple G major chord. What do? They whack in that seventh note, creating a dominant seventh chord. The two notes that really make this seventh chord, G to the F, are exactly the same notes that Jeff sung on that drop. So immediately this major chord was a shock. I mean, the opening is, as a whole, so then we finally arrive at the key. It is a minor song, but as soon as we get this harmonic confirmation, no, let's go into some upbeat Celtic drums. I'm happy I had the subtitles on for this because I was thinking as I was listening, how would I describe this percussion sound? Well, they've done it for us. interesting sounds in there. I'm not a beatboxer. I will save you the pain of me trying to explain what I'm hearing here, but really interesting. All the different individual layers combining to make this sound. Caesar starts us off.
What will we do with a drunken sailor?
And then I like these gaps.
What will we do with a drunken sailor?
Because what follows creates an effect of a change in time signature almost. We're still in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Being VoicePlay, whom I call the masters of rhythm, when I first heard that, I did second guess myself and thought, oh, they've done something interesting with the rhythms, the time signature. I'm going to need to go back and check it. But no, they keep things simple in common time.
What will we do with the drunken sailor?
Early in the morning.
And that is the melody that everyone knows. What will you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? But because of those bar rests, the effect is completely changed, and now suddenly there's a lot more urgency when the actual melody comes in. Again, just surprising us early on.
In the morning.
A lot of parallel harmony there, especially in octaves between Jeff and the melody. I'm not sure if this melody is taken from somewhere else. I seem to recognize it at the back of my head somewhere. Anyway, wasn't expecting it. Not my favorite part of the arrangement, but it's something different. When I was first hearing this, I was just thinking, okay, I have no idea what is going on. Moving to the chordal accompaniment. So we think maybe things are calmer. I mean, I guess they are, but the percussion, the Celtic beats, they're just going on in the background.
Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Early in the morn.
As usual, we get the chordal accompaniment, then the homophony on one of the important phrases. Another bit of surprise, they don't sing the last word.
Razor. Early in the morn.
Well, the last syllable, I suppose. Caesar's dancing is the thing worth mentioning here. And later on as well, that made me chuckle. What's this dance move called? Was that a twerk? Now this bit I really liked. Not only do we get a dynamic contrast, so everything is now a bit quieter, a bit hushed. The words are exaggerated. They seem to be pronounced quite intensely. But what I like about that is how crude the harmony is. Maybe crude is the wrong word, but it's old-fashioned. We don't get anything crazy like we might expect with VoicePlay. So for this verse, they just keep things really as simple as they can in harmony. And with all the craziness and new ideas that we've been hearing elsewhere, this is really impactful in a kind of backwards way of thinking. This bit then reminding me of Hoist the Colours. If you don't know Hoist the Colours or you want to see my reaction to that one, you can check it out, card up here. I do like this as well, the almost childish playing. I'm sure all of us did that in the bath as kids, whether it be with a duck or... I don't recall actually using any toys. I think I just used a cup. How boring. Oh, that's upset me now. Well, let's get back into this. Very fun one. Here, returning to the previous ideas of moving to the chordal accompaniment, then homophony, but it's a bit more exaggerated. We also get some alternating rhythms. Foreshadowing this bit here, with the oohs coming in layered, ooh, ooh. And now here is the first time we really hear this layering on quite an impactful moment. Just a lot of surprises, everyone moving up, Jeff moving down, and then the rhythms here. Why it might sound peculiar, they again have not changed anything fundamentally with the rhythms. We're still in common time, 1, 2, 3, 4, but by the rhythmic diminution of the rest of the phrase, by making all of the notes shorter, everything's condensed into the first few beats of the bar. So on the final beat, they get this whoa in. On the fourth beat, you don't normally get a stressed syllable. The whoa is stressed, so it just offsets our comfort in the common time, I guess. They are keeping us on edge here. They're keeping things exciting.
Early in the morning. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in the bed.
And now the O's we're getting in the background, or the oohs. It's this idea again of the chordal oohs, but we've already had that twice. So they change it up. They make things staccato. Again, they're stressing beats that we might not expect to be stressed. It's a similar kind of effect, just throwing us off from the fundamental rhythms. Okay, and then this is absurd. I would love to hear him do this live acoustically. I have said in some other videos that Jeff essentially has an infinite range. He can probably keep going down until we can no longer hear it, but I'd like to know how much studio effect is added on here. He also changes the melody. Instead of the usual melody, he goes. So that note is changed. What's the result? Well, we get this chromatic inflection between these two notes, and then to just give it a bit more of a melancholy sound. The next part I'll play is a great example of how if you have something consistently, no matter how obvious or not obvious it is, when it's removed, the whole mood can change. And I'm talking about Lane's percussion.
All souls aboard, old salts are we. We've raised the sails for open sea. Grind deep, we hold our keep, no matter sink or swim.
That little section was just quite eerie, and now the percussion is back in. Of course, VoicePlay with the visuals, with the lighting, they completely play to the arrangement's strengths. We've spoken about the very humorous being forced to listen to VoicePlay. Jose is right. Lane, you are a monster for suggesting it.
You are a monster.
Sorry, I think I said Lane. Ellie. Ellie loves it though. Ellie loves it.
Are a monster.
And kind of following on from what I was just saying, now we get another eerie section where Jeff takes over the melody. We do also get percussion, but as simple as can be.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor. That's what we do with a drunken...
Delayed harmonic change there, effectively acting as a suspension but whole chord which moves late.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor. Lie in the morning.
Really interesting chord progression, and it's similar to the opening. They start in unison.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor.
Opening up, but now they're not on major. This is still minor. Whereas in the introduction, they started unison, went into major, and then minor. Now it's reversed. Here's minor.
Lie in the morning.
And then that very last chord is a change to major. Morning. A great example of how it's the third note in any chord that determines if it's major or minor. Here's our chord, D. Notes 1 and 5, and then note 3 goes from here, minor to major. That's surprising, leading into a key change.
And up she rises.
Ellie gets his rock moment. He had one earlier.
Up she rises.
Jeff's part is now the MVP. He's doing that, you know, walking, jumping around bass. Dum, 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 dum. You know, that kind of thing. Down the octave, of course. And then we finish with the fun dancing. Loads of other layers now coming in. Loads of layers. Some parts going early in the morning, in the background, thickening the texture, providing syncopation, all the good stuff. Yeah, that was a mental one. Crazy. So much going on in there. Well, while we're in the shanty mood, let's go on over and watch the last shanty. Ironically, the last shanty is my first VoicePlay short. If you want to watch that with me, the link will be in the pinned comment. And if not, well, thank you for watching as always. Would appreciate a comment and a like, really helps the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can support me by donating a hot chocolate or two at the Buy Me a Coffee linked below, or you can join the Patreon linked on the screen now to get access to additional content, polls, and much more. And I will see you next time.